Yo, what's up? It's Redman, and I'm back with another video about Labrynth and my climb to Diamond 1, primarily in the Sprite meta. I did start playing at the beginning of this month, little bit, not really a whole lot. I think I kind of only would just log in to play on my dailies, so I have some replays before Sprite got added, but once Sprite got added and I entered the Decade tournament yesterday, the meta significantly changed, so I felt like it was kind of necessary to try to hit Diamond 1 again, because I felt like my deck profile was going to change, and it did end up doing so. So I've got 10 replays to go through, going over like my plays and my climb through Platinum all the way up to Diamond 1, and then I will go through my deck profile. I don't have a tournament run, unfortunately, because the only tournament that I've entered so far in the Sprite meta was the Decade $3,000 Meta Championship Series tournament, which I unfortunately lost pretty much immediately in the first round. It went to game 3 against a Sprite player, which was actually the person that got second in the overall tournament. So I guess I can't be too upset with how I did. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have a like topping tournament replay or footage or anything to go through, which will make this video much shorter, obviously. But I'd like to top in a tournament at some point with this list that I have. So I'm going to keep entering at least one tournament a week to try to get there. But in the meantime, I think this definitely works pretty well for Diamond 1 right now. And actually, I'll even show you like my last 20 matches leading up to me actually hitting Diamond 1. So you can see here, of the last 20 games, I've won a lot. I only lost 5 times. So I went 15-5, leading all the way up. So I climbed very quickly yesterday from Diamond 3 all the way up to Diamond 1, because I think the profile is pretty decent, and I did run into a lot of Sprite, so you'll be seeing plenty of those replays. But I definitely think Labrynth is in a pretty competent spot right now, even with like no added support. So yeah. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and get into the replays. So, starting with, Floowandereeze. I didn't really run into Floowandereeze all that much. This was also before Shifter got put to 2, and I think Duality got put to 2. But I didn't really run into Floowandereeze all that much. Before Mathmech, or not Mathmech, before the Runick and Spright meta just became like super meta, I would run into Flu quite a bit, but like once Spright came out, I only ran into Flu like once. So don't know how relevant this replay will be, but it's something at least, because you still could probably run into Floowandereeze. Yeah, so I'm going second here against Floowandereeze. We start with map, reveal Eglin, get out Eglin, get Robina back, and then I do Robina, getting Toucan, getting out M-Pen, searching for the Dreaming Town. Not really a strong start for the Flunder player. I Extravagance. I get a whole bunch. Like, just this hand is kind of redonkulous, I'm not gonna lie. Like this, even though I don't have any board breaking cards here going second, this is still a pretty darn solid going second hand, especially considering Skill Drain and Imperial Iron Wall are like game winners on their own against Floowandereeze. So like, why is this duel like 13 turns long? Shouldn't it just be over after the next two? Well, we're about to find out. So I set 5, they Dreaming Town, and I'm pretty sure they're about to Ryza me in some way. Yeah, they search for Ryza. And then Ryza will bounce 1. It bounces the Imperial Iron Wall, which was good for them. And then so that's the end of my turn. I still have I didn't need to set the second Dogmatic of Punishment, but I guess I kind of wanted to set it because I knew they were going to like Ryza to like spin a back row. So I was kind of hoping they would maybe hit one of the punishments, but they didn't, which is not a big deal. So they hit me with M-Pen and Ryza, so like I just take it's a lot of damage that I take. But they don't have map anymore, which is like a big deal. So I can now normal Ariana, grab Welcome. They decide to Dreaming Town here. But then I skill drain. So that the Dreaming Town kind of just falls flat. I don't really have any further plays though. And I also need to clear a back row space so that I can use this Welcome to actually get Lovely on the field. Because otherwise, I'm just going to get hit by Ryza and Flo and M-Pen, and it's just going to hurt. And I'm probably dead. So I have to, like, use my board clears to just keep myself alive. Now, honestly, I'm not so sure why I didn't already flip Imperial Iron Wall. Like, Imperial Iron Wall should have been flipped, like, way, way earlier, because I've already gotten this Eglin to be banished, and that'll return back to the hand. So I could have avoided that by flipping it earlier, but I guess I didn't really feel the need to do that. But then I do flip it here because this counter is called by the grave, because the effect of negation does not happen if the card can't be banished. So it will always go through. I take another 1200. I'm down to 300 life points, so it's looking dicey here. I still haven't punishmented, but that's only because I have Welcome and the field spell now. They only set 1. They try to go for the kill. I just get out a Lovely, destroying that back row, which was actually a beastly snipe, being the Lightning Storm that they set. Because if I would have ran into Ryza with Lovely the next turn, they could have just flipped up Lightning Storm, and I would have been screwed. But that was like probably one of the best. Like this is why it's really funny how like people, I think, either whether consciously or not, put like their best back row or like their most game-winning back row in the middle. So I just like will pop what's in the middle in the back row, and it just happened to be a Lightning Storm. So I think that like single-handedly saved me from losing, because otherwise they're floodgated with 2 different floods that really, really stop them. So I hit into the Ryza, and I just set Eradicator, and then I think I just shotgun this at the beginning, right? Yeah. Just destroy all the spells. He only has Rubina. He really can't play from here. Bring back out Lovely because I tributed it with Eradicator. It's pretty much over at this point. Use Duality to grab, I think, Lord. Yeah, makes sense. Activate Lord. Smack into that. He has an empty field. Set the Torrential. They top decked Ash, which is like too late at that point. Now they probably set Ash. Yeah, and I think it's just pretty much over from here. I just keep it like control because I'm not trying to OTK. I still want to protect my back row in case they draw into another Lightning Storm or something. Duality goes bye-bye. And then they just surrender. Yeah. They got flooded out a good bit, but it's like it didn't instant win me stuff because they still had like plays to be able to get like back row destruction. And I feel like I got a little lucky with the Lightning Storm snipe, but I mean, beating Floowandereeze going second even if there wasn't like full power Floowandereeze, because they didn't get unexplored winds out, and they did get rid of map, or I got rid of map, I think pretty early. So it wasn't like super impressive, but still, I don't know. Beating Floowandereeze going second most of the time, I feel like is pretty solid. So there's that. The next one, oh, this was Dinomorphia. So Dinomorphia very often is like an annoying deck to play against, especially if you have to go second. Almost every single time I've gone first against Dinomorphia, I typically win because you just destroy their back row, or you prevent their monsters from doing anything, or what. Like typically when you go first against Dinomorphia, unless you just brick badly, you're probably going to win. But when you're going second against Dinomorphia, it's really annoying because they get out Kentragina, and then Kentragina gets out Rexterm, and then like you can't use any of your monster effects at all, and it's really annoying. But I believe this was one where I went second and I ended up winning. I don't know if this is actually like the best Dinomorphia build, because Ferret Flames is kind of decent, but I don't see it very commonly, I think, in Dinomorphia builds. And they're also playing the Soul of the Supreme King tech, which is just wild. And I think it's kind of maybe it's a bit too dependent on your opponent, because they do have to play a spell for you to use its graveyard banishing effect. But it's probably worth it, for them. And then they play a bunch of floodgates, which is like, I mean, this anti-spell is not going to do much against me, but whatever. I mean, seems like a pretty all right list from what I've got. They also play Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which was good on them, I believe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I go second here against Dinomorphia. And winning when going second against Dinomorphia is like a tall order. Yep, I am going second. I have two welcomes, Backjack and a Duality. And so they just, in the draw phase, just instantly do the Supreme Zark tech. And because they're probably banking on the fact that I also didn't like read this card and understood that like this can only be activated if I play a spell. So if I ever see this card being played, especially like in the draw phase like this, I can just be like, oh, well, then I'm not going to Duality, and I'm just going to summon Backjack and then like link it off to trigger its effect, because, I don't want to. I just literally wait for one turn for Zark to go away, and then I can play my Duality. And I don't think that's too hard to do, especially when I have Torrential Tribute. So I think the first mistake is I play Duality. Yeah, I play Duality when I should have just normal summoned Backjack and then linked it off, and then just not played any spells and just go from there. But I, typically when I did have Backjack and Duality in hand, I would always start with Duality, because the card that you pull from it is almost always going to be better than just like linking off Backjack. So yeah, that's my reasoning for why I did Duality here first. So yeah, they get to banish because I did that. And then now they get to summon a bunch of stuff out, and they're going to summon out Kentragina. So they get a, I believe an Omni-Negate, right? So they get Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which it stops monster effect. Oh, no, it does stop spell traps. And it can be unaffected by your opponent's monsters. But it is like one spell trap negate that like I didn't think was too hard to counter. And then I don't think this guy did much of anything. Yeah, he just like changes the attack to 0. And it's like, again, it's like another monster negate, but I don't really care much for a monster negate, I suppose. So I see Ariana, Tears, and Gozen. I pick Gozen because they have Usually Gozen's not good against Dinomorphia because it's all darks, but they have a wind. So I'm like, sure, I'll just pick Gozen so I can somewhat break this board. They Kentrigina so that they fuse into, yeah, Rex turn. And then I just set 4 and then put Labrynth on the field. And then they negate. So the funny thing about this, oh no, wait, it does destroy. It is a once per turn destruction. I did play into this. Probably shouldn't have. But I think at this point in time I was playing 2 field spells, so I think I just kind of didn't care. But like typically and now in hindsight, I don't think I would do, like, if I see that they have a spell trap negate and it does destroy, then I don't think I'll play the field spell, because I'm just playing directly into it and I'm just like wasting a card. So now they're going to trap trick into another domain. They can't use it though because they've already domained that turn, so they'll just do it here, and I'm just going to immediately flip Gozen in the draw to force the negate from this guy, and then I will, because the plan was to force the negate and then torrential the board away. I don't get to activate the Ariana effect, but I do at least get to completely destroy the board, and they get Kentrigina out, and just one Kentrigina is kind of, you know, doable. And then they just fuse into another. I'm not sure why they fuse into yet another Kentrigina instead of just activating her effect. During the main phase, I guess, oh, it's a one-time effect, actually. It's not like once per turn. It's literally just once, period, she's able to do it. So that, I guess that makes sense why they wanted a new one, because then they want that effect to come back again. And then they deal 3,500. So yeah, normal, backjack, get out that. Oh yeah, and this was really, really funny. So they used Ferret Flames, and I didn't have to put backjack away because it's not at it's 0 attack. So I thought that was like really funny how this actually kind of played around Ferret Flames. I also think I went immediately into Welcome to bring out Lovely because I tried to link Karibo, but Link Karibo is a Cyberse, and because I welcomed before I linked off backjack, Welcome stopped me from being able to summon this because it's a Cyberse and not a Fiend. So I was like, well, I just have this backjack just sitting on the field now with nothing able to do about it. But I did get a Torrential. And because I got the Torrential with Lovely, it says I have to control a Fiend in order to activate it. And lo and behold, Absolute King Backjack is a 0 attack Fiend. So this Torrential Tribute is still alive. Which I thought was really funny. Then I set Tears to help with Disruption. They go into battle. I'm just like, I am just going to set this, and I will keep Ferret Flame since it's not going to do anything right now, and then I'll reset the Welcome. They Pankratops. I'm curious, I guess, yeah, no, that was main phase 2. So, or no, that was during the battle phase, and they can only summon him during the main phase, so they couldn't attack or anything like that. So I Welcome here, bringing out Ariana. And then I'm glad that, like, in this instance, I can, like, activate Ariana's effect and then Torrential. Which I probably actually could have done earlier. But I guess I just chose not to, or I just didn't think I could. Or maybe it didn't give me the option to do it. I don't remember exactly, but I know I did. I probably could have done it earlier if I could do it here. Yeah, and then Pankratops just leaves and doesn't destroy anything. Yeah, and then I didn't even get to see what I was going to get off of my backjack. But I guess backjack was going to get me something nice. And then I think they just kind of were out of options. Were they only playing 2 Kentriginas? No, they were playing 3. They had a third one, and they hadn't summoned a second Rex term out yet. But they also have 3 Zarks, which I find kind of funny, I guess, because they play 3 of the trap. But yeah, it's funny how like it kind of turned around. I think this also was just funny how it played around Ferret Flames, of all the things to play around. So I felt that was worth keeping. All right, the next one, 60 card branded Shadoll Grass when Grass was still at 3. This was kind of a wild one. Not even that much. Yeah, it's like half branded, half Shadoll, also a Verte, and then a buttload of hand traps. So that's cool. Again, going second. All right, they just grass immediately, and they are able to get a whole bunch of effects off. To get Fusion in hand, Squamata, and they normal Aluber, because of course they have that, and they get to Branded Fusion to Lobelion, then Lobelion gets out Mirror Jade. We've seen the same song and dance. I believe they, what was it? They discarded Squamata? Yeah, Squamata, and I think Squamata sends Schism so they can get out a Shadoll Fusion. They just have that in their hand as well. They have so much gas. They get Winda out too. And then they set, I don't remember if this was a brand, I don't think this was a branded in red, but like, yeah. So I do Lord of the Heavenly Prison. They immediately Mirror Jade because they're like, I'm not messing with that backjack. Like if that backjack goes to the graveyard, nah. So he's just immediately fires off the Mirror Jade, which I guess that's fine. I didn't really have a better play to do. I mean, I could have maybe just not played backjack there, but like I'm fine with backjack going away and you know, forcing it out, quote unquote. That was the only thing he could have used it on. Albion get Branded Fusion back in hand. So he still has Winda, but he is going to Polymerization off the Winda to get out Masquerade. Winda's going to get Schism back in hand, and then he's going to attack. Getting on another Lubellion. Lubellion will get out... Oh, yeah. So Lubellion will get something else out, but then I believe it was... Yeah, it's Shadoll Dragon. Dragon destroys my field spell, and that's the only thing they can destroy because of Lord of the Heavenly Prison being revealed. So knowing this, I'm like, okay, well, I have to use Welcome now in order to pop something using the field spell because it's going to go away. And then they branded Opening. But unfortunately, the branded Opening is not in the graveyard. So they don't get to protect any of their fusions. So like, it's funny how they grassed and they got no branded openings in grave, which I think was pretty lucky. This card is only at 2. But the fact that like there's none of them after like post grass is just like kind of wild to me. So I got lucky there. So they all get destroyed. Luber comes out. I destroy that too. And I get out Ariana because I know she's going to get destroyed because of Mirror Jade's effect. So I don't want to get out Lovely. And I want to at least be able to search something, use her effect to some degree. Oh yeah, and they banished like 3 cards from my grave. But I grab Welcome, so that one getting banished isn't that big of a deal. So I Trap Trick into Compulse. I Compulse away this one so that they can't beat over. And then I grab an Extrav. I know, yeah, and I know the Lord's going to destroy... or get destroyed by Mirror Jade. It's fine. Like I still wanted the Extravagance, and they put this down after I put down the Extravagance. So I'm thinking it could possibly be Imperm, but you never know. But I do get to use it. It's not Imperm, and I draw into an Ariana. This was actually kind of cool. This is a called by, and because I already have an Ariana in the graveyard, they can negate my on-field Ariana's effect because of this, and I don't have a way to stop it, so I just don't get to search here. And they get to fusion summon into a App Cologne. I was about to say Al Capone. I want to call this one Al Capone. So yeah, and they get to get rid of my Ariana, so I don't have anything on the field. But I have skill drain and a welcome, so unless they have Ash in hand, I kind of don't care. Get a bunch of graveyard effects, which I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna let you get into something stupid. And then I flip Iron Wall because Schism cannot work if they cannot banish. And that's just, then they're just flooded out, and they just lose from there, because then I get out a Lovely and I just hit over all their things. So yeah, that was a very interesting deck, especially because they fully resolved Grass just off the bat, but no branded. Like if they had a branded opening in Grave, then that would have been huge for them. But they did not. So, all right, then now it's Mathmech. I think this is one of the last Mathmech decks that I played against before Spright became meta. This is just a really standard Mathmech build, playing a Nibiru. Like, I don't think there's much to take away from that, but I will take a look at it. And again, I am going second. So they start with mining, they pitch and exceed to get circular, of course, because circular is the one card combo to get everything they need. Grab Super Factorial, Alimbertion. You've seen this a million times. Grab Diameter, normal Diameter. Do the Link Disciple plays because they have another Parallax Seed in hand. And they tribute that off. Bring out Splash Mage. And then they make Heat Soul. And then I believe they also do, oh yeah, IP. So I have 3 on the board, set one of them being Super Factorial. And I'm like, okay. They get to keep drawing. And they have Effect Veiler for my Ariana, which is like an inconvenience, but I'll hit over the IP. They don't do anything with it. I don't know what they were trying to do with it. So they get the full benefit of this this Laplacian. They get my Compulse, and they even get the Skill Drain. So all I have is 2 Trap Tricks left. Them negating this field spell doesn't matter because it's not going away. It doesn't get destroyed. So I don't really care about that. They go into Transcode Talker pretty much immediately, and from there I'm like, okay, they're just gonna probably try to get into Access Code Talker. I'm just like, all right, just give me my welcome, and then my welcome will just destroy. And I'll even, like, because I activated a normal trap, I will go ahead and bring back out my Ariana to search again, and then destroy. And then Lovely gets to destroy. It's just something in the back row, because I'm just banking on this just being nothing. I'm just pretty sure this set back row is just like, this is just not going to be impactful. It may be, if it was a call by, they would have probably used it already. So because it's not, I'm just like, all right, this is doing nothing. I don't care about this. I'd rather just destroy something in hand, potentially hit the circular. I did not hit the circular, so they get to circular. And they get equation. So they're still able to play. They make another Laplacian and activate it. So they rip that out, get that out, and they get out Trap Trick on. So it's like, man, this is looking kind of rough. I got Laplacian to twice. I'm at a severe card disadvantage right now. They do Link Devotee. I guess because they didn't, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they maybe could have killed me with like update jammer into Access Code Talker They probably had lethal. I'm just not sure if they like misplayed or what. They only have 6 left in the extra. But they haven't gotten update jammer out yet, so that was kind of strange to me that they didn't try to go for it there. I top deck probably like one of the most helpful cards to help me, you know, get back lovely. I try to go into battle phase and I just like bring that back, which triggers Ariana and the field spell and Welcome in the Grave, but they called by. Okay, so that's weird. I was thinking this wasn't called by because they obviously, like, I brought out Ariana from the field spell, so like, why didn't they call by? Maybe they were specifically waiting for Lovely to hit the graveyard, and when I'm about to get Lovely out, then they called by. And it's like, I guess, okay, I don't know. I mean, they could have used this call by probably earlier, and it would have been more effective, perhaps. But like, okay, fine, it's a call by. Gets another Alimbertion out. That's the third one, I'm pretty sure. Gets another circular. That's their third circular. They do Wicked and all this normal stuff. Grab Diameter. Lingaribo, because I know I'm playing traps. But they kind of end the turn again. I don't know why. Just, I don't know. I feel like can they really not kill me? Are they out of material? Are they out of like things to be able to do? So it just feels like this feels really weak from a Mathmech player. Like, I feel like a good Mathmech player can get more than that out, but I don't know, I could be wrong. So I just beat over the Lingaribo, and then I activate Welcome, and then I think I forgot this yeah, I like forgot that, or I didn't read Wicked because I'm just like, of course I'm not going to read Wicked because I'm like, all I care about is, oh, Wicked just does something when you special something to a zone it points to. And I'm like, oh, but wait, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. So I'm like, oh, well, poop. I didn't waste it. I was still wanting to Welcome anyway, but it's just like, oh, well, oops. I thought this would destroy and I'd get like more effects, but I only think I needed the one anyway, because I wanted to search. So now they get out Diameter. I get that back, activate Ariana, and then I get Welcome back as well. This is their this is the third Laplacian, right? Like, they've gone 2 Alimbertions they've gone through 3 Alimbertions, and I think this is the 3 Laplacian. This is the 3rd Laplacian. I'm still playing through it all. It's so funny. They get rid of Duality. And yeah, they get rid of an Ariana and a field spell. So I was lucky they didn't get the second field spell out of my hand. And then they just beat over Ariana. Oh, and then I top deck Lord. Even better. But I think I wanted to wait specifically until their turn instead of doing it early, because I wanted Lord's effect to search. So they try to battle, and I'm just like, nope, gonna destroy this. I think I decide to do I do the leaving one because I want to draw. Yeah. So that was a whole bunch that happened in the end. I wanted to activate the Ariana's second effect to draw a card and then potentially summon something, and then just it chains from there to Welcome in the Graveyard, and then Lord comes out too, and they just don't have, they literally have nothing else. They didn't have, they ran out of Laplacians, they ran out of Alimbertions, they never got out Update Jammer or Access Code Talker, which was just really strange to me. See, I found that like kind of weird. Or actually, no, wait, they're only playing 2. I thought they had 3. I don't know. I'm just stupid, I guess. But they only had 2 of each. So once they went through both of them, they're kind of like don't have anything else. They did have they had Update Jammer. I just don't know why they didn't go into it. I don't play Mathmech, so I don't know if like they got stuck somewhere or something. But most of the time, whenever I see Mathmech and they just have circular, they just can go into Update Jammer, Access Code Talker, even if it's just Update Jammer and something else, and then into Access Code Talker. So it's at 4,300. It can still attack twice and just kill you. I typically see that a lot from Mathmech. I'm just not sure why this player themselves didn't do that. All right, so next one. This one was wild. This is a very interesting Labrynth deck, if you can call it that, I suppose. They're playing Lilith, Lady of Lament, for 1. So you would think maybe Layer of Darkness, but no, because there's no layer of darkness here. So this one's a weird one because you have a better normal summon. So I just don't see the point of Lilith that much. I mean, sure, there's a lot of normal trap targets for Lilith, but it's just not that great in this deck. So questionable. Then they're also playing Artifact Scythe with Artifact Sanctum. And I just thought that was just a completely wild, just out of left field tech that I wasn't even remotely expecting. and I thought was really funny. They're also playing Storming Mirror Force, which is, I guess that technically it works. It does trigger off of it does trigger lab effects, but it's just so slow and bad that it's not really worth playing. And then they play IDP and just 2 anti-spell fragrances, which in the mirror doesn't really matter that much. And then a bunch of punishment targets in the extra, as well as Omega is a punishment target. Cosmic Blazer Dragon, I guess, is the high attack punishment target, as well as 5-headed dragon. And then a Baguska. So yeah, this was a weird build to say the least. And this is a 15-turn duel, by the way. Again, going second. They start with Lilith to get a welcome for free, basically. And then they set 3 more. And I'm like, okay, I have Field Spell. And I have Extrav. They just welcome immediately. Like, you don't just shotgun welcome immediately. Like, unless you I don't even see a reason to do it like this early ever. Because even if you have no removal to combine with the welcome to go into anything, it's like you still want to hold off welcome until maybe at least the battle phase to not take damage, depending. But like this early, it's just for a search, just feels really unreasonable. So they grab the Field Spell, which I'm like, okay, cool. Now they have the Field Spell in hand. So if I get Lovely out, I could potentially snipe this in a 50-50 scenario. So I Duality and I grab Lord, because of course I do. It's really good, especially in the mirror. Grab the Field Spell. So because I have the Field Spell before they have it on the field, I'm already at an advantage. And also, even if they eradicate Epidemic Virus here, it's too late because the Lord's protecting my back row. So it'll only destroy my draws that are traps. Not what's already set. So I'm pretty much in the clear here. So they activate their Field Spell. Keep in mind, I have 3 compulsory evacuation devices set. I have 3. I don't have a welcome to be able to destroy this Field Spell. So I'm like, this might be kind of dicey. But I know I need to at least use something so I can search for Lord, or I can use the Lord Search to get a welcome. Actually, and then also I use it to be able to, trigger the Field Spell to get this Lovely outside of my hand. But then they have their own compulse to put it back into my hand, which I think is just funny. And then they bring out their Lilith, and then I just torrential it. I guess I force the thing out with torrential. Maybe torrentialing wasn't a great play here, but I guess I say screw it because I need to get Lord out. And they were going to not have, like, I could have probably compulsed, but I think I wanted to keep these, and I just didn't see this torrential doing much of anything, so I guess I just wanted to do it anyway. So they tried to get an Eradicator, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to get my own Eradicator. So they turbo we're both at the races now to resolve our EEV, so you could probably guess what happened next. Oh, they also, I guess they just feel like IDPing, bringing my Lord onto the field. And then they artifact Sanctum. So they special summon out Scythe, which they know doesn't do anything in the mirror. Besides get a 2200 body on the field, I guess? I don't know. So then I do Eradicator Epidemic Virus, which destroys everything that they have set. And I believe it destroyed their virus, which they couldn't use yet. They welcomed first, right? Yeah, they activated welcome and they chained. Did they chain? No, I chained virus. They activated welcome. I chained virus. They just IDP'd because I knew that they had a virus, or they were about to get a virus. Or they were about to like set it off. So it's like, okay, I have my condition to set off my Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and I'm gonna like resolve that as soon as I can in the mirror by tributing Lord, because I had a target. They didn't have a target. So they tried to get a target out. If I didn't do this before they got their target out, then they would have probably eradicated me first, and I would have been probably... then we would have eradicated each other at the same time, which would have been weird and awkward, but I was able to eradicate first and destroy the Eradicator, which puts me at an immense advantage. And then this destroys the welcome, but obviously I think it believes it still gets to resolve. And then like Sanctum and Ice Dragon's Prison, like they were going to get destroyed, so they just decided to activate them anyway. They get out lovely, destroy my field spell, and I'm like, oh, this isn't great. And then I bring my Lord back to my hand. They get another welcome. So it's not looking the greatest simply because they have the field spell out. They are under Eradicator, but them having the field spell on the field, especially with this many monsters, is like, oh crap, I'm at a disadvantage, but I could still win. I believe I was still running a second field spell and I hadn't gotten into it yet, so I'm kind of like vying for that. But I just set this and I'm like, let's keep going. A top deck track trick, it gets destroyed, obviously. I put Lovely back into the hand. And then have Ariana. I believe I search... yeah, I search the field spell and then put down Welcome. They tribute summon Lovely and then bring back the Eradicator. And then what do you think they're gonna do during my draw phase? Oh, they're gonna they're gonna welcome trying to destroy something. I'm gonna welcome I think to search again. They're destroying my Lord. And then they trigger a whole bunch of stuff. They actually destroyed Backjack in my hand. That was the worst thing that could have sniped. The worst thing that could have sniped, because that gives me advantage. And now I get to activate Backjack's effect. Search my welcome. I wish in the replay it showed you what you order the top of your cards were, but it doesn't, so I have to wait to see. Then I tribute summon my Lovely, and then target Eradicator, try to crash, and then I force the... it's like... I specifically want to keep my Lovely on the field. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to forcibly crash, so they have to Eradicator now to destroy my stuff, but I get to keep my Lovely at least. And then they bring back Lovely with their field spell, but then I kill Ariana. But it's like this really interesting like back and forth in this mirror match. They top deck Extravagance, so it doesn't get destroyed. That was a really good draw for them. They're gonna, yeah, destroy Lovely, which makes sense. I get Trap Trick out. Yeah, they draw Trap Trick and Scythe when Scythe is not useful here. I get Dogmatic Punishment because I want to destroy Ariana and the field spell, since my field spell is going to get destroyed. Or actually, no. I don't destroy the field spell. I'm like, because I'd still have to deal with this Lovely if like the field, you know, this field spell does anything. So I'm like, all right, I'm banking on the fact. I think also Lovely brought back this trap. And if I remove all fiends from the field, this trap, which I believe is a welcome, cannot be activated. And I'm pretty sure he's gone through all of his welcome targets. Because all 3 Arianas are in the grave. And he has, I believe, a Lovely in hand and a Scythe in hand. And then whatever his last card is just unplayable or something. So Lovely going to the grave means he can't play. He basically has nothing left. And I believe he even set the Scythe. So I top deck Imperial Iron Wall, wouldn't have done anything anyway. But I get my 1 Ariana, and I can't even search. There's nothing left to search. I don't have the field spell, because I've gone through both. I don't have any... I don't have... Like, all my other Arianas are obviously in the grave, and I was only playing 1 Lovely. So, like, I have no more targets. And I don't even have anything for welcome anymore either. So like this is my last Ariana. We are literally in the grind game down to the frickin' wire. And I am glad I made the choice to eliminate their field, because I would have certainly not won this if I didn't. I have a monster at least. They have 4 cards, but I have a monster that can deal damage. And remember, I'm still under Eradicator, but they're also under Eradicator. They top decked. Like, that was probably one of the best things that my Eradicator could have destroyed, was their Dogmatic of Punishment, because if not, then this would be gone and I'd be screwed. So I top deck Solemn Strike, which again gets destroyed. I'm like, fine, just deal the damage. So now none of the stuff gets destroyed. But again, I think they're just bricking really hard here. I draw a Solemn Judgment. And I'm like, okay, I have something to stop them. If they have literally no plays, I can stop it, I believe. They have nothing still. Again, they have no welcome targets. They have nothing that they are able to use welcome on, because I believe they have Lovely in hand, and then everything else is a brick. So they cannot get anything out in the field. They cannot use their field spell. They don't have anything. They are bricked very badly here. And so I'm like, all right, Ariana, attack again. And then Torrential. I don't think I need to use a Torrential, but I guess in like an emergency situation. So then he top decks. So he top decks Extravagance. And because I know in the previous 2 turns he was not able to do a damn thing, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to let you resolve this Extravagance, because there's a chance that you pull something that's playable, or you pull 2 things that are playable, and then I lose. So because of that, it's like, if I Judgment this, you have no plays and you lose next turn because you have 1600 life points and Ariana has 1600 attack. And that's it. He knows it's over. Like, that was such a back and forth, really weird Labrynth mirror that, like, we both were under Eradicator. We both had to tribute summon a Lovely, and they sniped the backjack out of my hand. Like, God, like, this is a replay of all time. Because I just found that, like, so wild to me. So that's it for all the pre-Spright replays that I had. Now, because the Spright cards got put into Master Duel on the 14th. So I believe this first one, right off the bat, we're already seeing Spright. So they're actually running a card destruction, which I find like kind of strange. I'm not sure why you want to run card destruction in Runick Spright, no less. This build's kind of not great. This is the only person I think I ever saw play Wind Up Kitten. And then, like, they didn't play Carrot. They only had Red, which didn't make much sense to me. So I'm really not sure what they were trying to do. They're playing 3 Gigantic, 3 Jerry, 3 Hugin, you know, typical, and they have 3 Elf. So typical Spright stuff, but just really strange they didn't include Carrot at the very least. But yeah, so this is the first Spright game. Spright Runick, I should say. With card destruction. I'm just... That's kind of mind-boggling to me. Again, going second. I have not gone first in any of these replays, by the way. Alright, they get out Hugin. Hugin discards, gets another field spell, and then they quick play to get freezing curses. They banish my skill drain. They target 3, get to draw 3, and then they get out Wind Up Kitten, I guess, to get out Gigantic. They're doing the whole Spright thing. They get red out, sure. They get another field spell. Then they get out Elf. Starter into Jet. Jet gets Smashers. And then Elf bring back Wind Up Kitten. Let me just read Wind Up Kitten. Once while face up on the field, you can target one monster your opponent controls and return that target to the hand. It's neat. And I remember, I think even MBT mentioned that this card's like pretty darn good in Spright, but not many people were playing it. And maybe it is a good tech, but I just don't see enough people playing it for me to be like, yep, that's definitely a good tech. So I duality, grabbing, yeah, skill drain, because like that kind of just clears the field here. Lord of the Heavenly Prison, they get out blue. Yeah, they don't want to negate with red because that doesn't really do anything. I Gozen off the bat. So I think, yeah, Gozen kind of just clears. Even if they had Carrot, the funny thing is, even if this was a Carrot instead of a red, I had Strike, so this just clears the board anyway. I had Strike and Skill Drain. This totally clears the board going second against Spright. So they keep Dark on the field. And then I'm like, nope, you're not going to search that. And then I knew they had Smashers, but they're only going to be able to get rid of one or the other Floodgate. They can't get rid of both. So they decided to get rid of Skill Drain to get Starter. Get out Jerry, because they want this Gozen to go away, so they're going to keep Jerry on the field. Blue search Jet again. And then I'm like, nope, you're not doing that, because I still want to summon out using Welcome to Summon. And then they banish a couple more cards, right? They like, yeah. Yeah, they banished 2 Terrors, which Terrors is good to put the field spell into the grave. But they don't really do a whole lot else. Like there's still under Gozen and Jerry. They're hoping that Jerry is like the out. So at the end, I get out Lovely. They immediately destroy it, but then I still get out Lord to get out Eradicator. And then they use Tip to search Destruction. But they couldn't use Destruction because I'm pretty sure they already used it earlier in the turn. So they were able to add it, but then they couldn't use it. And like by now, at this point, it's too late because now I can resolve the Eradicator Epidemic Virus, I believe. Trying to look to see, did they use it? They used Freezing Curses. They used Smashers. I don't think they used Destruction. Maybe they couldn't because it was, but like it's a quick play spell. I'm not sure why. If they didn't already Destruction like off the bat. I don't know. Well, that was, yeah, no, that was turn 1. I don't know. I guess they added it, but they just didn't do anything with it. Whatever. They try to do it off the bat, but like it's too late at that point. I can just do this and destroy their whole hand. But they still have their Spright engine. So even though I EEV'd them, like most of the time against, especially pure Runick, if you EEV them, they are pretty much losing, almost guaranteed every time. But Spright Runick means that if you destroy the Runick engine by destroying all their spells, they still can make a lot of plays with their Spright engine. So it's not really the end of the world for them. So I decided to attack here into Gigantic so it can't activate next turn. And then did I top deck this deck, Dev? Where did it come from? Yep, I top decked it. So that's pretty darn good. And then so they normal summon this into Spright. But I think I didn't want to deck dev quite yet because, again, if I deck dev, it's going to destroy Jerry, and then that's going to destroy the Gozen match. And I wanted to avoid that for as long as possible. I'm like, all right, I'm still not going to attack into Jerry. I'm not going to kill Jerry until I absolutely need to. They get Lava Golem, which doesn't do anything because I don't have enough on the field to do anything with it. I punishment that away. What did I send? Oh, I sent Wind Pegasus, I guess, because... Did I run out of Antisses? No, I didn't even extrav, so, I guess I had nothing else that I want. I didn't want to destroy anything else, I think. Yeah, this wasn't from a Tears or anything. I think they set that. So then I welcome here, they have a Max C. They draw into Destruction, which gets destroyed. Oh yeah, it's an Aperia, that's right. So now I'm willing to destroy, because at this point, I have at least 2 monsters on field. And because I know they have a Lava Golem in hand, I'm like, that's fine. I am just going to use deck dev before they can Lava Golem me. And then they obviously can't, and then this Gozen match being destroyed doesn't matter because now they're under deck dev and they're just gonna pretty much every card they draw, every card that's a starter that they draw is just gonna get destroyed immediately. Yeah, so at the beginning of their turn, so Freezing Curses goes bye-bye, and then I just immediately deck dev so that they can't Lava Golem. And so now Eradicator's done, so they can start drawing into the Runick engine, but they need to draw really freaking good for the Runick engine or something like that. And it's just over. Because then I get the Eradicator back and I can just do it again, and they really just cannot play from that point on. So yeah, that worked out pretty darn well. All right, now we're into Diamond. So this one, again, Runick Spright, but at least they're playing a carrot. They're playing a carrot. They're playing a red. This one's also playing Wind Up Kitten. Don't think there's too much else. I mean, they're playing Ash, obviously. I don't think the previous person was playing Ash at all, actually. Typical Max C, Lava Golem, all the stuff that you're really familiar with. This is a much more competent deck. They are only playing 1 Jerry, though, but it's probably fine. They're playing 2 Gigantic, 3 Elf, and then, IP, and 1 Herald of Pure Light. Not a lot of rank 2 Xyz monsters. I guess they're kind of more banking on, Link strategies by playing higher Link monsters. But not a bad deck by any means. At least I don't see any glaring issues with that. But yet again, another Runick Spright. As soon as the Spright cards dropped, it's just Runick Spright everywhere. Oh yeah, I was experimenting with Coup Clock here as well. Again, going second. So they get Jet to get Starter, Starter gets out Blue, Blue gets out Red, Red gets summoned, they get out Gigantic Spright. Get out Aperia to draw yet another card, Elf, probably to Aperia again. Then they get to do their Runick stuff too, draw a bunch, bring out Carrot, actually instead of Aperia. Makes sense because now they have a monster and a spell negate, or spell trap negate. I normal Ariana. I guess I decide, sure, I'll play into red so that they destroy the Ariana. Probably in hindsight shouldn't have done that, but whatever. I mean, like, if I literally just normaled Ariana, didn't use her effect, and then crashed into Elf, that would have probably been a better play. They do a bunch of runic stuff, and I'm like, okay. So then they tear, so I tears this to try to, like, I think I want to force out the carrot negate. Because then I want to get Gozen to be able to be activatable so that they're locked into fires. This is banking on them hopefully not having runic destruction, by the way. And then Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. So when sprites came out and I knew I was going to run into runic a whole lot more, I started putting in Phoenix Wind Blast or Phoenix Wing Wind Blast instead of compulsory evacuation device, because it's really, really good against runic, while compulsory is basically not very good against a runic at all. Whether it's pure runic or sprite runic, I mean, compulses can be decent, but like the versatility of Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, being able to place any card, not just monsters, on the top of their deck is especially really good, because then when runic tries to activate to draw cards and shovel things back in the deck, not only do you stop that, but because their next draw is runic, which probably isn't a good draw for them, you end up hurting them in the grind game as well, at the cost of having to discard a card. So that's why I was playing Coup Clock, because I was experimenting with, okay, well, you know, like, what's a furniture that kind of works with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and doesn't suck totally. So I was experimenting with Coup Clock, and I'm like, okay, this kind of works as discard fodder. Plus on its own, I wanted to experiment with it. I wanted to play test with it to see if it was okay. It turned out to not really be that great, but still, it's just discard fodder, because you need to start playing stuff that you're willing to discard, because if you only play cards that, like, you don't want to discard, then Phoenix Wing Wind Blast gets a lot worse, and it's a really, really good card. So I'll explain more later here, but like, my deck kind of got changed a lot around this card specifically, because I think it's really, really good, especially in this meta right now. They have another fountain, but they can't use it, obviously. And then I just Dogmatic Punishment. And I believe this doesn't get destroyed because I think it wasn't made with IP, was it? I don't remember why this wasn't destroyed. Oh, it's because of Slumber, right? Yes, because Slumber was on it, but I still was able to send Entis, which means I could destroy that field spell. So when they top deck the field spell again, it's like, it doesn't matter. And then I also am playing Chandraglier, and it just is barely able to beat over Elf, which I find really funny. I'm not sure why they didn't, at the very least, use Elf's effect to bring out Epuria, or at least Jet. Oh, actually, wait. They couldn't because of Gozen. Duh. Sometimes I forget I have a floodgate on the field. They literally couldn't even do anything. They couldn't special summon anything out because they're under Gozen. So I just get to beat over the elf for free, and these guys don't do anything because I didn't want to activate any effects. But I can't beat over any of these guys with Chandraglier, so it's like, well, this is weird. So they have the fountain, but they can't do anything. So it's like, it's delayed them for a whole nother turn. Then I get Iron Wall, which is really good against the Runic Engine in particular. They still can't do anything. They have basically bricked at this point, and they are stuck behind Gozen. Then I get Eradicator. I don't have a way to activate it, but they do get it. Still, they're waiting for a destruction to be drawn, especially is basically what's happening. I have Skill Drain now, so I have 3 floods, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's all my floodgates. I don't need more. So they finally they draw into a destruction so that they can play. But So my thought process here is like, okay, if I chain Iron Wall, this just fizzles, right? No, it doesn't. Goes in, still gets destroyed, but I don't have any cards banished off the top. So it like only half stops destruction. Like this floodgate still gets destroyed, but it's fine because I have this floodgate and I have skill drain for the sprite stuff. So it just doesn't matter really. Though they do get to draw 2 more, they get to get out blue, but I'm just like, nope, I'm going to stop that. And then they just set something else. I just hit blue because that's the only thing I can do. Set torrential. They're pretty locked in here and they need yet another destruction or a tip. They haven't gotten a tip either. Yeah, and they're able to summon all this, but they can't activate any effects. And now I have deck dev. And they can't use red because of skill drain. But I can use Chandraglier because it tributes itself off the field. So it's not affected by skill drain. So I set Labrynth. And then Coup Clock comes to my hand. What did I pitch with Chandraglier, by the way? I discarded deck dev, which is funny because you think like, wait, why would you discard deck dev? I just don't have, I have literally no way to activate that or Eradicator right now. So like it's useless in my hand. I'm going to discard it. And then I've just torrential their whole freaking field away. And then the field spell allows me to bring back out Ariana. But Ariana's effect can't be activated. And I at least have a Chandralier in hand again. They have to skip. They can't use a Lava Golem anyway. I only have 1 guy on field. And then now I have a Lord. But again, I can't activate this yet. So I'm just going to keep hitting them in the face with these small guys. During the battle phase, they summon out Jerry. They had a set card, right? It's funny, I guess them doing that allowed me to activate Lord without having to worry about it. So they helped me there without knowing. And then I grabbed Duality, I suppose, because both my other viruses are in the graveyard now, or I have Eradicator. Oh yeah, they crashed Jerry. They purposely put him in attack position so they could crash him and destroy the Imperial Iron Wall, because apparently that was a bigger threat to them. And then now they have destruction to get rid of skill drain. I'm like, okay, I still have Eradicator, but I mean, you can destroy the skill drain at this point. I don't care. And then they normal summon Maxi to get out blue, and then they get out Jet. Jet gets out Smashers, but then I'm pretty sure at this point I Eradicator because I'm like, well, I mean, they can chain the Smashers, but like, what are they going to do? Get rid of the field spell? I don't care. Yep. And they destroy that, and then they have they had Ash, a Jet. They had 2 Ashes, a Jet, and another Max C, I believe. So they try to get out they get out 2 elves. I used Duality and they Ash one of them, and I'm like, okay, I knew that was gonna happen. That's fine. They draw. They draw under Freezing Curses, which gets destroyed. I kill off both of the elves so they don't do anything. And then I have Strike still. They get another Freezing Curses, which again gets destroyed. I'm just like, I'm not letting you... Though I need to probably be a bit more careful about this, but like, I guess this was probably a decent play. Because then they don't have any starter. Yes, it's their graveyard. They don't have a starter in grave, right? Like they haven't used starter. They've used Smashers, and typically they only play 1 Smashers. I wasn't thinking this. The main reason why I Solemn Strike here is because I was thinking they were going to get another Smashers, which I did not want. But them getting starter also, I mean, preventing them from getting starter probably was fine, but I could have maybe held off on striking here. They normal maxi anyway to get Elf. Elf brings back Elf, but then they surrender. So what was really confusing for me here is they got out 2 elves, but if you look at their deck, they had Unchained Abomination. Now I know they couldn't Avermax because they needed 2+ monsters special summon from the extra deck, and only 1 elf was special summon from the extra deck, while the other one was special summon from the graveyard. So they could not Avermax. But I was really confused on why they could not get out Unchained Abomination, because this only needs a 1 link monster, and they could have probably made it. And if they did, they probably would have won, but I don't know. And they didn't get Gigantic out that turn and use Gigantic's effect, so they weren't locked into Link 2 only. I was just really confused on exactly why they didn't go into Unchained Abomination. That was like the only thing I found to be strange about why they surrendered. But I guess if they couldn't get it out, even if they wanted to, then they were probably just going to lose anyway. And so I can understand the scoop. All right, moving on. This one's Live Twin Spright, which is playing a Feather Duster, 2 Cosmic Cyclones, 2 Imperms. No Runic Engine. It's just Live Twin Spright. Obviously playing 1 Leela and 2 Kiss to Kill, and playing Downerd into a Zeus. Playing Sky Cavalry, 2 Herald of the Arclights, which I found interesting. Obviously an Avermax and then a Goddess. Like, that's happened to me a whole bunch of times. Droll Lockbird, Infect Veiler, 2 Maxi. No Ash Blossom. Or no, wait. Yeah, there's the 3 Ash Blossoms. She's just all the way down here because she's level 3 and all these are level 2s. So that makes sense. So yeah, so Live Twin Spright. And they're also playing Hop Ear Squadron, which is like not a card I really see very often, and don't think it really mattered that much. I mean, I think maybe to get out Herald of the Arclight, but that's kind of it. Again, I'm going to going second like every single one of these replays. If you wanted to see me go first, I guess, sorry. So they basically get the full combo here with Live Twin stuff. Getting out Gigantic, getting out Red, Spright Elf. Bring back one of the Evil Twins, link that off to Masquerena. Get Kiss to Kill. Bring back that out to get Leela. Get out Kiss to Kill again. And set 3 back row. And I'm like, okay. I'm gonna Lord here. They bring out Red. A little late, but okay. And then I Duality. And I get an Evenly Matched. This is where I start playing Evenly Matched. And they realize, oh, fuck. I need to Starter to immediately get out this carrot because they have an Evenly. They're gonna use the Evenly Matched. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and tribute one of your things to prevent the Evenly. So then they try to destroy that, but it doesn't matter. But they have to use the Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of the Eradicator. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just set both Gozens. So then they destroy. So like they have 1 Gozen to destroy and counter with Carrot, but they can't counter the second one. So they keep Light on the field. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to get Lord out and get out Deck Dev, which just screws them. And then actually from here, so then I top deck a Lord, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me crunch the numbers real quick. I can actually OTK. So I go to Battle Phase, Attack, use Deck Dev in the Battle Phase to then destroy everything in hand, which included like an Effect Veiler and all that, which wouldn't have mattered. And then because I hadn't activated Lord's effect yet, I'm still in the Battle Phase. I get to Special Summon him and attack for exactly 3,000 damage. Lord is so cool because it can enable OTKs out of like essentially nowhere, and I think that's super sick. So that was a fast duel, all things considered. All right, I have two more replays here. So this one's just Mathmech. So a lot of Spright I've ran into, Spright Runick, Live Twin Spright. Now we're just gonna do plain old Mathmech. It's like, well, that's kind of interesting. I actually ran into quite a large amount of Mathmech, even though like Spright and Runick are pretty much dominant in the meta right now. So, like, wonder what I'm trying to do here against Mathmech. Is like, well, this was last meta's like top deck. Like, people are still playing it, and I think that's totally fine. It's still a pretty darn solid deck, all things considered. And they're even playing Gamma, for crying out loud. So like, that's kind of neat. 2 Parallel Exceed, bunch of fucking back row hate. Holy crap! Look at all this back row hate they have, and even Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Impermanence, Small World. Like, just geez, they even have fucking Final Sigma in here. Like, good lord. They have only 1 Laplacian, and they're playing 2 Alambertian, so they have like a bunch of room for other stuff in their extra, which I guess is fine. But yeah, it's Mathmech. So here. Again, going second. All right. So you can see my hand. I am playing Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode because I think this card is really, really good in this meta right now for a bunch of reasons. I prefer it specifically in Labrynth, or this Labrynth deck that I'm playing, over Lava Golem for a multitude of reasons. One, a lot of people are ending on a board of 3 rather than just 2. It's especially good against Spright because a lot of the times your opponent is going to end on like Carrot Red and Elf at the very least, probably also an IP. So you ball away like Carrot and Red, and you ball away Carrot Red and Elf if you want to resolve a monster effect. If you don't want to resolve a monster effect, then you ball away like Carrot, Spright, or Spright Elf and like IP or something. But like, Ball's great because not only do a lot of boards end on 3, like Mathmech as well, also ends on 3, typically. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do, especially if they're like trying to like fully maximize, they're gonna typically try to end on 3. But also, it's not a special summon, so it doesn't conflict with duality. And I run duality, and I like duality for consistently, or for consistency. So Winged Dragon, so Sphere Mode does not conflict with that, while Lava Golem unfortunately does. Both Sphere Mode and Lava Golem take your normal summon away anyway, so like, that's fine. But also Lava Golem is a little annoying sometimes because sure, you might Lava Golem them, but then like, if you don't have many follow-up plays, your opponent can just start hitting you with a 3k beat stick. Sure, it burns them for 1,000, but like, we don't really care about that much. If you can't out your own Lava Golem immediately, then that's a problem. Sphere Mode is 0/0 when it hits the field. It can't be targeted by attacks. It can be used as link material. That's basically all it can be used for, but it kind of just sits there and does nothing. So even if you don't have an immediate out for it, that's fine. You don't care. It's not going to do anything, and it comes back to your field after their turn's done anyway. So like, I think just strictly speaking, in terms of playing Labrynth, I think Sphere Mode is just better, and playing it in the main deck makes a lot of sense. Because if you're going first and you see Sphere Mode in hand, but you also have Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, then you can use Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. You can use this as discard fodder because you're probably not going to keep it in your hand. Now, you might want to. You maybe want to, because maybe after going first, they still end on a board of 3 and they don't kill you. Then you could probably still Sphere Mode. But there's probably going to be some instances where this is going to basically do nothing and it's discard fodder. So instead of playing like Backjack and some furnitures or whatever, obviously playing evenly, and evenly isn't very good going first. Playing evenly and playing Sphere Mode, it's like that, and plus playing multiple copies of Lovely, which you'll see later, mean you more likely than not are going to have something that's not very impactful to be able to discard with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast to make it effective. But let's do this replay so you can see just how interesting things play out. So you get to see the whole like Mathmech play. There's really nothing special here at all. Just typical Mathmech things. Yep, they even get out Lingaribo. Just in case I'm a back row deck. I also like how I start with no traps. And they set 3. You know what I'm gonna do? Well, first I'm gonna Pot of Extrav. Cool. Then I Duality. Grab Trap Trick, because I already have a Lord. Don't need to get a second one. And then I have Ariana, but I'm like, that's fine. I'll just use my normal summon later. I tribute off everything with Ball. Feels good, man. And then he's just like, I don't know if he's just like upset or whatever, but I really don't agree with doing Super Factorial this early. It grabs the field spell though, and I was only playing one of those at that time. And then they just shotgun that. Like, okay, I like kind of don't care. So they do this whole thing. They get out Update Jammer, so I know they're trying to go into Access Code Talker, so I hold off until they go into it. And then this is where I Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I unfortunately have to, I pretty much have to pitch my Lord. This is one of those rare cases where you kind of have to pitch something that you kind of did want to keep in hand, but you really don't want this access code. Like, I was waiting for the access code talker to come out. I'm like, I'm going to put that crap back. And I did have to get rid of Lord, so I can't get the search off, and I can't use Eradicator Epidemic Virus, but Eradicator is not really that good against Mathmech. Like, destroying their spells only does so much against them, and their trap is a search anyway, so doesn't really matter all that much. But I wanted to keep Ariana in hand because she's a really good normal summon the next turn. So I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to live, right? They get out an Alimbertion, they search for an Equation, and then they use Equation to get out Diameter, who has 2,000 attack. So they do 6k damage to me, but they can't kill me still. And then check out this top deck. Ball. I get my second sphere mode. Top it off. Whoa, that's 3 monsters. Bye-bye. And then I can't do anything else because I only have a normal summon, so I just end their turn. They get to Circular. And then they can bring that out. But they could only summon Circular in defense, right? Or could they have summoned... Oh, yeah, and they can only... Because they Circular, they can actually only attack with one monster anyway. So I was still living. And then I get Ball back. Now I activate Lord. And then they... So here's the unfortunate thing. Here's the very unfortunate thing. I activate Lord first because I'm under the assumption that this Ariana is going to resolve. I don't think that their back row is an impermanence. Because I mean, I haven't brought anything on that should get impermed, but I just like, I don't think this back row is doing anything. I could have obviously like been like, oh, if I just Ariana first, and then if Ariana's resolves, then I activate Lord's effect. But no, they impermed, so Ariana can't search anything, and then I would have brought out Lord that way. But I didn't think about it, so like that could have been played a little bit better. So I need to remember, wait until Ariana's effect resolves first before you activate Lord's effect, because otherwise, if they, you know, they activate their set trap, then I can actually special summon Lord and get a body out, because otherwise this Eradicator is not going to be able to be activated when Lord's still in hand. So because of that, I'm like, well, I have Ariana on field still and I have Ball, so I will link off those two to get Dark. This is the only time I have ever actually summoned out Dark, and he was like the only viable like thing to to summon out in my extra deck, because otherwise I like don't have anything that can be brought out. And with Dark, I target Ling Garibo, even though that's only going to do so much because they typically only have one super factorial anyway. And like, I guess they might have imperms. If they have one, they probably have multiple. So like, I think it was just funny to just steal the Ling Garibo. And so then I beat over the circular, but then I'm going to take 700 damage here from this Sigma. And it's like, oh, I'm really cutting it close. But thankfully I can beat over this Sigma with Dark. I again activate Lord, but now I have Torrential. So like this is very, very activatable if he puts something on the field. So I still have follow-up. And then they try to Lightning Storm. Whether they destroyed my attack position monsters or not, it wouldn't have mattered. Like my back row was still it was protected by a Lord, so it's like, wow, that Lightning Storm did nothing. I Torrential here because I know he could just run into the Ling Garibo to kill me, and then I get deck dev, and like, it's just over. I don't think they have anything left anyway. I think they went through both. They only had one Laplacian, and they went through both their Alambertians. It's just really funny that I balled them twice, and I got out Dark. I thought that was hilarious. Oh. All right, give me a quick second. All right, so last one. This was like one of the last replays that I got before I hit Diamond 1. So this one is against, again, Live Twin Spright. They're playing a single Lightning Storm, even a Forbidden Droplet too. Ghost Ogre, obviously the carrot in the red, all that. So yeah, Live Twin Spright, I really ran into Live Twin Spright like quite a lot, honestly. Oh, they also have the alt art Nightmare Unicorn, which I thought was kind of neat. And they're playing Trouble Sunny, which is interesting. But I guess that's a play. And then a bunch of rank 2s and all that stuff. So yeah. So again, going second. I think literally, yeah, all my replays are me going second. I didn't have a single one going first, which is really funny. So they fully combo off. They get out red, starter into carrot, jet into smashers, just the full thing, full combo. Elf to bring out one of the twins, LinkedIn off to kiss a kill. Yep, get that whole thing set up. So they can do destruction on my turn, and they get to draw, and they do that so that it's all ready to go. I draw two, so I top deck an evenly match. I have 2 evenly matches in hand, so you probably know what's happening next. I duality. I see ball. I see sphere mode off of duality, and I don't go for it. I instead grab skill drain, because like why would I get ball if I know this evenly is going to resolve? Like And if I only had one evenly, I absolutely would have gotten ball there, and I would have tributed probably not red, actually. Maybe I would have tributed red. Unsure, actually. I think I would have tributed carrot. I definitely carrot and elf. Yeah, probably carrot, elf, and this one, because this Kiss a Kill would bring back Leela, and Leela would destroy something, and I don't have, or I do have Lord, but it would probably destroy. Actually, no, yeah, I would just actually I would just get rid of red in that case. I would have attributed those off, and then I would have even lead, and then like they would have probably maybe just killed. They would have probably just kept Kiss a Kill, maybe. But I'm like, no, I have 2 evenlies, and it's like I can play through carrot, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna grab the skill drain for follow up later because I have Lord and I have Ariana, so it's like it's fine. Did not need to get ball at all. And also that's another reason why I like playing sphere mode, is because if you see it off of duality, you still can summon it. Unlike Lava Golem, if you see Lava Golem off of duality, you can't summon Lava Golem. So it's a big one. So he's like, oh crap, he picked skill drain. I better, you know, be prepared for that. So then I evenly, they negate. And then I evenly again. And then they smashers. And I'm like, wait, why are you smashersing? Wait. That's your entire board. You just made me evenly your entire board away. Why did you do that? And I'm like, okay. So now it's like going into turn 3. It looks like this looks like a turn 1 from me. Like I set 3 back row with Lord, and I have Ariana on field. This looks like I went first. It's just so funny. So now I just destroyed their whole field. They have Ash though, so I'm like, ah, okay, sure. I still destroy your whole field though. And they use their normal, and they don't have a level 2 on the field, so they can't extend her. And then I have another Ariana. Again, I should be summoning Ariana first, making sure she resolves. But then again, I have skill drain, so like Lord can be activated anyway, but just something again to keep in mind. Just hit for 32 and put the field spell. Like it's just over. It's just so over at this point. They summon basically anything, and I'm like, okay, cool, get your 2 out. Time to get, you know, destroyed. Maxi's not gonna save you here. And then they have Forbidden Droplet, which is like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then they get out Jet, and then I'm like, nope. But then Jet's gonna, oh yeah, they get out Sky Cavalry to beat over Lovely. And I'm just kind of like, okay. And they try to Zeus, but it's like Zeus can't do anything under skill drain. Zeus is doing nothing under skill drain. So they're just like, nope, cannot win from there. Like that, like sometimes you just draw into 2 evenlies and you just cleared the board. Them smashersing so that they lost everything, I thought was really, really funny. That was such a big misplay on them. They could have at least kept Kiss a Kill on the field, but they just didn't. So I don't know, but that is it for the replays. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. All right, so here is the deck profile. It is not really changed all that much from my previous deck profile, but I will talk about the cards that are like basically anything that did change. So I have 2 Lovelies now instead of 1. The main reason for 2 Lovelies is because I'm running these virus cards that are harder to activate than full force virus. So in my previous profile, I had 2 full force virus because Mathmech was everywhere, like Flu was everywhere, like basically, oh, I just removed something by accident. But basically, because stuff that dies to full force was like running rampant in the meta, I'm like, and full force is really easy to activate because you just need Ariana. instead of like a lovely or a lord. So that's why I only ran one lovely. But because in this meta, Runick and Spright are running amok, these viruses require 25 or higher attack. So it's like, okay, to make things a little bit more consistent, and because one lovely, when it's in my hand, really hard bricks and it's very annoying, I'm gonna run at least two. That way, if I do draw into one, it's not the end of the world. It's still fine, and it gives me more targets and more leniency to be able to use Welcome to bring out Lovely to then be able to trigger one of the viruses. So that's like one big reason for that. 2 Sphere Mode. As I explained earlier, Sphere Mode, I think, is just strictly better in this meta currently compared to Lava Golem for something specifically like Labrynth, where you're not really needing your normal summon that often. If you have Ariana, that's fine. You can just Ariana next turn or so. But most boards ending on 3 is probably one of the biggest points. It is a normal summon. It is not a special summon, so it does not conflict with duality, and it is just a 0/0 body that does nothing, can't be like targeted for attacks or anything. It just doesn't. It basically doesn't do anything for your opponent except give them, I think, something to link off with, which usually isn't even that big of a deal. So I just think Sphere Mode is like strictly the best kaiju board break monster right now, at least for Labrynth. Like, you can definitely say like Lava Golem is good in like the Runick Spright mirror. Like, I think if you're playing Runick Spright, you should probably be playing Lava Golem because you don't really care that much about your normal. And you don't have anything that conflicts with like special summoning like duality or anything. So like Lava Golem more often than not is gonna be better in that deck. But in this deck specifically, I think Sphere Mode is good. Obviously 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I'm running 1 field spell because I just didn't really need 2. I know previously I felt like I needed 2 because if Lovely ever hits Grave, I only have 1 and I needed it to come out. And if my only 1 field spell is in the grave, then that Lovely is never coming out of the grave, which sucked. But now that I have 2 Lovelies, I'm like, yeah, I think I could only do 1 field spell and be totally fine. So yeah, Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. This is just, I think it's a really, really solid card. I know the cost of discarding is pretty bad, but I think in this meta where like Runick is running amok and you really want to stop Runick Fountain and really like hurt your opponent on their next draw, this is really, really good for that. I think it hurts a lot of other decks as well, because then if they top deck something that doesn't really let them play, then you can really like hurt them badly. And like, because you're playing like Sphere Mode and you're playing a second Lovely, if you open with that in addition to a Phoenix Wind Blast, then you have free discard fire. You don't have to worry about discarding something that's going to help you. So that's why I'm playing Phoenix Wind. If I was trying to play Phoenix Wind Blast without good discard targets, then I could make an argument for maybe cutting it. But I think this card is really, really good right now. Now, it does only target your cards your opponent controls. So like, it has the versatility of being able to apply to monsters and spells and traps. But it's only your opponent. So if you want to like compulse, like you can't use it like compulse, where you can compulse back your own like Lord or your own Ariana or whatever back to your hand. But that's like fine, you know, like Big Welcome in a way is kind of like its own, like it has compulsory like built into it. So even in like TCG, I don't think I'm going to be even playing compulse all that much, because like Big Welcome just has that, and I think Phoenix Wing Wind Blast just has more applications. So it's a really solid card. I really don't see many Labrynth decks playing it, and I definitely think you probably should. It works, like if you like playing furniture builds, then I definitely think this is probably like a very highly recommended one, because you're going to have plenty of discard fodder. And if you play like a bunch of backjacks too, that's also discard fodder that makes you go plus. So yeah. I'm only running 1 deck dev and 1 eradicator. The reason being, I did earlier in the season or earlier in the Spright meta, I tried running 2 of each, and the problem was I was bricking a bit too frequently because there'd be times where I would top deck, because you have to remember the activation requirement for these viruses is a bit difficult because you can only do it with Lord and you can only do it with Lovely. Obviously, this changes dramatically once Lady gets added. But because those are two kind of hard to summon out, if you only have a set Deck Dev and a set Eradicator and no other traps, but you have Lord in hand, you cannot activate them. And Lord cannot be put onto the field to be able to activate either of those traps. So you get stuck a lot. And that happened to me a few too many times with running 4 of these viruses. Now, you could maybe do like 2 full force virus instead of 2 Deck Dev, and then also 2 Eradicator, and maybe you'd brick a little bit less. But honestly, like, I didn't really feel like I missed the second copies of Deck Dev. Typically, once you resolve either of these cards once, you're fine. Plus, I very, very rarely, if almost never, actually trap tricked into the virus cards in the first place anyway. If I was trap tricking, it was almost always into Welcome or something that destroys something on field. It was, and sometimes actually I would trap trick into Evenly Matched when my opponent was like, you know, they removed basically everything off the field except trap trick. I actually trap tricked into Evenly Matched, and it was able to wipe most of their board. So like that was kind of cool. But I would almost never trap trick into the virus cards because I almost never felt like I needed to, because even if I did, I sometimes would not have a way to activate that immediately. So that's kind of why 1 virus each made sense to me. Now, in like a tournament setting, if I know I'm going against like Pure Spright or Live Twin Spright, then definitely I have in my side deck a second Deck Dev, so I just remove the Eradicator and put in Deck Dev because that's definitely going to kill the deck way better. And against Runick Spright, I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. I could probably play 2 of each to just make it more likely to get into them, because especially if you're going first, if you can resolve that and like screw them over, then it probably wins you the game, maybe, but only so much so. I think even in Runick Spright, you still want to turbo Deck Dev, because if you destroy all their spells, they can still make a really competent end board with all the rest of their like Sprite cards, obviously. But if you destroy all the Sprite cards and they only have their Runick engine left, they could be just drawing into their Sprite engine and then drawing less into their Runick engine, and they could be getting screwed over that way. Like, they will eventually slowly run out of their Runick engine over time, I feel. So that's why I feel like Deck Dev is still kind of better, but I still want to run 1 of each, because there were a couple times where I still ran into pure Runick or Runick Stun or something stupid or whatever. Like, Eradicator's still good. It still should be playing in the main. Plus, with Free Lord, you can search either virus anyway. And I did very, very often search for either virus to pose as like a threat for next turn. 3 Evenly just makes the most sense to me as far as like really good cards for going second, especially because, you know, this is best of 1 and you can lose the coin flip and all that. Like, I think 5 really good board breaker cards like Sphere Mode and Evenly Matched are pretty good, because like I would see them a pretty good amount of the time. I used to do just 2 Evenly and I wasn't seeing it enough to be happy with it. But with 3 Evenly, you see it fairly often, which is really, really nice. Especially when you're going second, and especially if it's able to like fully resolve, like you just pretty much almost win the duel single-handedly. I think this is like a staple for a lot of people, and some people are hesitant to put it in the main deck. I know I was hesitant to put it in my main deck, especially for even tournaments, but like the more that I was playing ladder, the more I'm like, maybe Evenly should be played. Now, the thing that very much convinced me to just straight up main deck Evenly is I ran into a Punk deck, or I ran into Punk twice. 2 games in a row I ran into Punk going second. And the first game was actually kind of interesting because I drew Skill Drain and Solemn Strike, and I think even Goes In. So like I had all the normal, like the regular, like board breaking traps that usually break boards, I pretty much had. Like I had like the perfect going second hand normally against pretty much any board. But because it's Punk, and because they have this thing called Amazing Dragon, and what Amazing Dragon does is it lets you bounce cards that I control back to the hand equal to the number of tuners that are on the field and in the graveyard. So, and they can have a crap ton of tuners in the graveyard, which means they were just basically at the end of my turn, they just bounce everything back to my hand. I have no way to stop it. And I just get OTK'd the next turn by Psychic End Punisher or something. And I'm just like, wow, that is broken. Like just setting 5 and passing doesn't work here. So like I have to play something like Evenly. I have to play something like Sphere Mode in case I run into Punk or something like Punk that's able to do something before my turn's even over. So that's why Evenly and Sphere Mode are just like, they help complement the deck a lot. And I didn't really miss the second copy of Trap Trick. It's nice when it comes up. It's not super necessary, but I think 1's fine. And then obviously, you know, Punishment didn't really change much of anything else. I'm even running the exact same Floodgates as before. Again, 1 Iron Wall because it's searchable with Lord. And then, you know, Gozen and Skill Drain are still probably the 2 best Floodgates in this current meta. No reason to not play them. They just help immensely with going second and winning and all that. Like, you can hate me all you want for playing Floodgates, but like I don't like playing too many because I definitely do think there's such thing as playing too many Floodgates. But they are tremendously helpful for going second, breaking boards. Like you even saw like the 2 Gozens that I used against Sprite broke their board like basically completely. It's really good. And then 3 Solemn Strike because I never really found a reason to play Judgment. I didn't run into enough decks that were even running back row hate. And even if I did, I typically had Lord protecting my back row anyway. I didn't even run into getting even lead that much, to be honest. Like, I think I got even lead like once. And I think I lost, but like, I only getting even lead once out of like all the games that I played climbing in Diamond is just like, okay. I mean, if Evenly's played like way more in ladder and I'm running into it like a lot, then I would have probably considered running Judgment maybe instead of Strike. But because that didn't happen, Strike's just kind of just the go-to counter trap here. And then for the extra, it's basically the exact same. There's like no real difference. I think I took out a Wind Pegasus for just 5-headed dragon because it's just a big body for punishment. But I also added a Lean Garibo because I was thinking people might try to Ibly lock me, and I think I want to get a Lean Garibo just in case. And I thought I was never going to run into an Ibly lock, but I actually did once. I played against a Runick Spright player that Ibly locked me or attempted to, and I was like, when it came, and they were going first and I went second. I probably should have saved the replay actually, but I just don't think I had enough space, or I didn't think it was the rest of the replay was that interesting. But they Ibly locked me and I was like, oh, that's fine. I have Lean Garibo. So I just Lean Garibo and the Ibly just stays in the graveyard. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I just didn't do anything. And then when they tried to elf bring Ibly back to link it back off, I think I just like negated elf or I like destroyed it or Gozen or something, or skill drain. I think I flipped like a floodgate or something, whatever. But this did come up once at least. So it's not totally useless. And there's a chance that people will probably be playing Ibly more in the future. You never know, but might be a good idea to put this in the side. And then it's really, I've actually never used Nightmare Phoenix because I think its discard just is bad. And there's been almost never a case where I've wanted to resolve back row. Dark, obviously you saw in the like that last replay, I actually summoned out Dark, which was really funny, but usually I'm never summoning it out. And then Gustav and Lieb, I did use once in tournament in the MCS last week against Pure Runick. It was like a last ditch effort because I had 2 Lords of the Heavenly Prison out on the field and I had even though they were at 9, they had 9,000 life points though. So even if like everything went through, they would have only had 1,000 left, and they would have probably still won from there. But they had slumber, so they just like stopped Lieb's attack when it came to it, and that was just the end of that duel. So I unfortunately didn't win. But this did at least come up once. But you don't usually have 2 lords on the field, and most of the time, if I did have 2 lords out on the field, I had skill drain active, so I wouldn't be able to, you know, do Gustav into Lieb anyway, because you need to be able to activate effects. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole profile for hitting Diamond 1 in February, going against a whole bunch of Spright. This worked for me. Obviously, there's a lot of other different like Labrynth builds that you can do, but I mean, I like this build a lot. Probably won't feel the need to make another one of these profiles until like another like significant meta change selection pack comes out. We'll see what happens in March or so. But yeah, I would like to try to top a Master Duel tournament with this deck. Now that because I worked out like a whole side deck for it too, and all that, and you know, hoping I can top something soon, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that's it for this profile and replays. I appreciate everyone watching and giving feedback and all that. If you have any questions, definitely be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. But yeah, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.